What happened to Sly and the family Stone?
On March 15th, 1944, Sylvester Stewart was born in Denton, Texas, the second of 5 children: Loretta, Sylvester, Freddie, Rose, and Vet. His ardent African-American family belonged to the Church of God in Christ, and they moved to Vallejo, California, a northwest suburb of San Francisco, with their convictions. Sylvester was 8 years old when he and 3 of his siblings, excluding Loretta, produced a 78 RPM gospel song for local release as the Stewart Four, having been raised on church music. Sly was a musical prodigy who was given the nickname Sly as a result of a friend misreading Sylvester. By the age of 11, he was proficient in keyboards, guitar, bass, and drums, and he wanted to play in various high school bands. And he was in an ensemble with an integrated lineup which went unnoticed in the 1950s. And during that time, the group made a few singles, and Sly, working with his younger brother Freddie, released a few singles as well. In the 1960s, Sly and the Family Stone's DJ was a pioneer in incorporating R&B flavored wide R's, notably British invasion bands like the Beatles, Animals, and Rolling Stones, into the station's soul music format. Bobby Freeman, a black singer who had previously recorded one of the era's pop R&B crossover anthems, Do You Want to Dance, was coupled with Sly on Josie Records. Sly and Freddie formed Sly and the Family Stone in March 1967 after meeting at a club in Redwood City, California. Sly's band featured African-American trumpet player Cynthia Robinson. Freddie's include Greg Errico, Craig Herskin, and Larry Graham. Jerry Martini persuaded Sly and Freddie to blend the best of both bands, which led to their formation. A&R executive David Kaperlik signed them to Epic Records and took over as their manager right away. When Sly and the Family Stone were booked for a 3-month, 6 nights a week engagement at the Pussycat Go-Go, which was attended by everyone from James Brown to Bobby Darin, they upended the Las Vegas status quo. They traveled to Los Angeles every Monday night for their debut album recording sessions at CBS Studios, which lasted from June through August 1967. The gospel-soaked backing vocals of Sister Vet's group Little Sister added weight, aka the Heavenly Tones. The resulting album, A Whole New Thing, released at the end of the year, was a wake-up call that rang as loudly as Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention's revolutionary debut Freak Out, which many rock critics reference in attempting to analyze Sly. The band's onstage appearance on top of their auditory explosion was a visual feast, dressed in outfits that straddled the line between hippie psychedelia, thrift shop sophistication, and eye-popping one-of-a-kind patterns. If Sly's lively music made Motown's formal orchestrations obsolete almost overnight, those mind-blowing ensembles put many a Motor City tuxedo and nightgown to rest. A Whole New Thing, like Freak Out, pushed too many boundaries. Sly's debut hit, the album's opening track Underdog, was too trendy for the room and radio, AM and FM, and they couldn't find a place for it. A Whole New Thing failed to chart despite endorsements from Miles Davis, Tony Bennett, and Mose Allison, as well as liner notes penned by KDI supporter John Hardy. Only a few weeks later, everything changed. Dance to the Music is the first single from Sly and the Family Stone's new album, A Whole New Thing. It was recorded in September with a couple of tracks dating back to May. The single reached number 11 on the R&B chart, but only reached number 142 on the Billboard Hot 100. Life, with its title tune single released in November 1968, was simply lost in the tidal wave of events. In retrospect, it was getting dark outside, and the fate of life was calm before the storm. The spring and summer of 1968 brought great cataclysms and change as the war in Southeast Asia waged on. In the final weeks of 1968 and the first weeks of 1969, almost as soon as life had passed, Sly and the Family Stone released a brand new song. Everyday People was both a call for unity and a celebration of variety. Sly's troubles with his success were beginning to come to sharper public focus, and the song catalyzed and challenged everyone's thoughts about him. Sly and the Family Stone finally got the RIAA Gold Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit on the Hot 100 and on the R&B chart as well that they had been destined for all along, with the song Everyday People. Everyday People and its B-side Sing a Simple Song were released on the Stand album in April 1969. The follow-up single, Stand, was groundbreaking in its call to arms. While not being quite as successful as its predecessor, it charted number 14 on the R&B and number 22 on the pop chart. The B-side of the single, I Want to Take You Higher, a topical reworking of Higher from the first LP, took on a life of its own. There was no chart malfunction this time thanks to 3 smash songs. On December 1st, Sly's first RIAA Platinum Million seller, The Stand, was certified as Sly's first RIAA Platinum Million seller, and it's been a solid 2 years on the Billboard chart. In the meanwhile, Sly and the Family Stone's early Sunday morning performance at the Woodstock Music and Arts Fair in August, which was documented in the film and on the soundtrack recordings, was regarded as one of the great high points of the festival. That same month, August 1969, the catchy, joyous Hot Fun in the Summertime reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 3 on the R&B charts. It was released as a non-album single. It was the group's last new music until late 1969 December, when another non-album single, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again, miraculously and magnificently ascended to the top. In early February 1970, the RIAA Gold single hit number 1 on both sides of the tracks, lasting at number 1 for a fortnight and number 1 at the R&B chart for a wonderful 6 weeks. While an extended break from formal studio recording sessions erased most of 1970 and 1971, the continuous traveling continued. Sly relocated the band to the old Jeanette MacDonald estate in Beverly Hills, where they established a studio in the attic to work on a new album. In the media, however, exaggerated claims of rampant drug usage at home and on the road appeared. For the 1970 pre-Christmas season, a Greatest Songs album was carefully released, bringing together prior hits as well as the 4 sides from 1970. Over Christmas week, the album debuted at number 1 on the R&B chart and number 2 on the Billboard 200, becoming one of the most successful albums in the CBS library at the time, selling 3 million copies. Meanwhile, visitors ranged from Bobby Womack and Herbie Hancock to Miles Davis and Billy Preston, and life at the home was becoming legendary. By all accounts, the recording was a catch-as-catch-can situation. The airy, lyrical family affair, released as Sly and the Family Stone's long-awaited new single in late October 1971, was one of those dark grooves. One last promoter had been persuaded a month previously to book the band for 3 nights at Madison Square Garden, which instantly sold out in advance, smashing Madison Square Garden box office records at the time. Sly smashed another record with Family Affair, which went to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks and number 1 on the R&B chart for 6 weeks. In less than a month on the charts, it became the fastest and final number 1 hit. There's a Riot Going On, the band's first new studio album in 2.5 years, featured Family Affair as their main song. The album was accepted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999, and it was placed number 99 on Rolling Stone magazine's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. The title was inspired by the famous Ride in Cell Block No. 9 by Leiber and Stoller. In June 1973, more than a year and a half after There's a Riot Going On, the band returned with a new single, If You Want Me to Stay. The departure of original Family Stone members Larry Graham and Greg Errico also changed the band's equilibrium. Sly's new hit, released just 5 years into his career, was prepping his audience for significant changes. The inclusion of an outside song not written by Sly for the first time on any of his LPs was probably more telling. Que Sera Sera, Whatever Will Be, sung by Rose Stone, was Doris Day's somber 1956 Columbia Records Chestnut. Small Talk, which reached number 15 on the Billboard 200, which was Sly and the Family Stone's last top 40 career entry, and its 2 singles, Time for Livin', which reached number 10 on the R&B chart and number 32 on the Billboard Hot 100, was Sly's last top 40 career entry on the Hot 100, and Loose Booty reached number 22 on the R&B chart, effectively signaled the end of the Family Stone's career. Members went their separate ways, with Freddie joining Larry Graham's Graham Central Station, a band that borrowed heavily from Sly Stone's style. Sly recorded High on You in 1975 and Heard You Miss Me While I'm Back a year later, both for Epic Records. Cynthia contributed to Back on the Right Track, a Warner Brothers LP released in 1979. Sly abandoned a second Warner Brothers album, Ain't But the One Way, in 1981, and its producer finished it in 1982. Sly vanished into obscurity, reappearing just a few times since then in the public eye. The band's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993 was especially memorable, as he materialized from the wings, made a quick statement to the audience, and then vanished. Sly's brief appearance at a multi-artist homage to the band at the 2006 Grammy Awards, which featured John Legend, Fantasia, Adam Levine, Sierra, Steven Tyler, and Joe Perry of Aerosmith, and others, was also perplexing. When Sly abruptly waved farewell to the audience in the middle of I Want to Take You Higher, abandoning the stage and leaving the stars to finish the song as he vanished into the darkness, everyone was taken aback. Coming Back for More, a documentary film released in 2009, showed his desperate financial circumstances. In January 2010, Stone filed a $50 million lawsuit against Jerry Goldstein, Sly and the Family Stone's former manager. According to the lawsuit, Goldstein employed crooked tactics to persuade him to hand over the rights to his music to him. He claimed the same thing about the Sly and the Family Stone trademark in his lawsuit. Following Stone's rant at the Coachella Festival, Goldstein filed a countersuit for slander. A jury in Los Angeles ruled in Stone's favor in January 2015, paying him $5 million. Rose Stone and her daughter Lisa performed with Elton John as members of his vocal support ensemble in 2011 and 2012. Since 1994, Freddie Stone has served as a pastor in California. The album I'm Back, Family and Friends was released on August 16, 2011. The album includes re-recorded versions of Sly and the Family Stone's greatest hits, as well as 3 previously unheard tracks, with guest stars like Jeff Beck, Ann Wilson, and Johnny Winter, among several others. Sly Stone was homeless and living out of a white camper van in Los Angeles a month later, on September 25, 2011, according to the New York Post. Cynthia Robinson, of age 71, died of cancer on November 23, 2015, in Carmichael, California. And that's what happened to Sly and the Family Stone. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, Stephen Martin, for the idea of the video. And I've been overwhelmed with video ideas in the comment section. So now, if you want to guarantee that your video idea will get done, check me out on Patreon, see the benefits, and help a brother out on YouTube and Patreon. With your help, I can make the videos better. Thanks again for watching, guys. Check out the playlist on screen, and I'll see you in the next video.